start with the sound of a howling, bitter winter wind. The snowy palace exterior shifting to the dark, oppressive bedroom. It's the dead of winter in the Zhao Empire. Inside a dimly lit, stifling room, the once glorious noble consort, Wan Hua Long, is dying. A harsh, wet cough racks her frail body. Her loyal maid weeps by her bedside, delivering the bitter truth: the emperor is too busy to visit. Ever since her mysterious illness took hold, the man she loves has vanished from her life. Suddenly, the doors burst open, bringing in the freezing snow and her bitterest rival, the Huo Consort. Dripping in jewels and draped in luxurious silks, the Huo Consort looks down at the dying woman and sneers, "Oh, so sister isn't dead yet." Even at death's door, Wan Hua Long still has her pride. She bites back, mocking her rival's fake gentleness. But the power dynamic has shifted. The Huo Consort strikes her across the face. She leans in with a venomous smile, revealing that the Wan family has already abandoned her. The Empress's throne, the very seat Wan Hua Long bled for, will soon belong to the Huo Consort. But then comes the ultimate knife twist. Wan Hua Long warns that the emperor will punish her for this treason. The Huo Consort just laughs. "It's been 7 years, sister, and you still haven't realized? The emperor has never truly favored you." The Huo Consort forces the horrifying truth into the light. That daily antidote the emperor sends her? It's poison. The man she sacrificed everything for, the man who held her hands and promised her the world, wants her dead. As the blood drips from her lips, Wan Hua Long's heart shatters. Everything she did to secure his throne, every ruthless plot, was for nothing. As the life drains from her, her mind drifts back to a time before the betrayal, before the blood. She wasn't always this broken creature. She was the legitimate favored daughter of the prime minister, living a life of unmatched luxury and power. She remembers that fateful night under the moon when she first met the fourth prince. She was brilliant, she was proud, and she believed her status was destined for the most powerful man in the world, if only she had known that her ambition would become her cage. The gentle spring breeze continues, accompanied by a sweeping romantic string melody that carries a hint of melancholy. The memories are a cruel contrast to the freezing, dark room. Back then, under a canopy of falling petals, she was the untouchable jewel of the Wan family. Suitors lined up for her hand, but her fierce ambition remained unmatched until she met Huo Qiuming, the seventh prince. He didn't just revere her status, he looked at her with an intensity that melted her guarded heart. He handed her a blossoming branch and made a vow that would seal her fate. "If you are willing to marry me, I'll fight for the throne that I never cared about. If I one day ascend the throne, you will be my only empress in this life and the next." Swayed by his promise and blinded to his true nature, she agreed, stepping into her new life adorned in striking green and crimson silk, but the path to the throne is paved in blood. For him, she became a monster. She used chests of glittering gold to sow discord among the ministers. She orchestrated ruthless plots in the shadows, eliminating his rivals without a second of hesitation. She gladly wore the terrifying title of the evil consort, plunging her own hands into the darkness just so Huo Qiuming could walk a pristine red carpet straight to the ultimate seat of power. But her reward was not the Empress's crown. Almost as soon as they entered the palace, a mysterious crippling illness struck her down. Bedridden and coughing up blood, she watched as the man she made emperor held her hand, sliding a precious jade bracelet onto her wrist with empty words. "Zhao cannot have a sickly empress," he told her, promising the title would be hers once she recovered. The stark images of the men turning their backs on her, fading into a broken hairpin in the snow. Who could have known that temporary delay would turn into 7 years of suffocating darkness? As her health faded, so did her value. Her own father, the prime minister, coldly abandoned her for failing to secure the crown. The emperor despised her weakness, turning his back on the woman who gave him the empire. Betrayal became her only companion, leaving her cast aside like a broken golden hairpin in the freezing snow. We return to the bitter reality of Weiyang Palace. The Huo Consort has finally left, leaving behind a shattered illusion. Her loyal maid, Nan Chu, begs her to ignore the venomous words, but it's too late. Wan Hua Long stares into her bronze mirror, devastated by the withered, pale reflection looking back at her. She is only 25, yet she looks like a ghost. "Nan Chu, comb my hair," she commands, her voice trembling but resolute. The agonizing truth is sinking in. 20 years of affection, 20 years of sacrifice. Was it all a lie? Was she nothing more than a disposable pawn to seize the throne? She refuses to die in the dark. Wrapped in a heavy crimson cloak that sharply contrasts with the blinding white snow, Wan Hua Long steps out into the freezing storm. Supported by her frantic maid, she marches toward the emperor's palace. She is going to look the most powerful man in the world in the eyes and demand the truth. Through the blinding blizzard, Wan Hua Long and her maid arrive near the emperor's quarters, only to be stopped by the arrival of a lavish carriage. Through the sheer, fluttering curtains of the carriage window, a young, elegant woman peers out. Nanchu nervously asks the attendants who is inside. The answer is the final, fatal blow to Wan Hua Long's heart. It is Miss Liu from the general's manor, and rumor has it she is about to be crowned Empress. Empress? The word hits Wan Hua Long harder than the freezing wind. Another violent cough tears through her chest as she stares up at the imposing dark gates of Junhuang Palace. After everything she sacrificed, after all the blood she spilled to put him on that throne, anyone can become Empress, except for her. Standing alone in the snow, her crimson cloak dragging on the ice, she speaks her final, bitter curse to the closed doors. Huo Qiuming, I trusted you. You broke your promise. You will face retribution sooner or later. Meanwhile, inside the warm, gilded walls of the palace, Emperor Huo Qiuming sits comfortably at his desk, casually dealing with state affairs. An attendant quietly informs him that the noble consort hasn't taken her medicine for days and is waiting in the cold. But the man who once promised her the world barely even looks up. Ignore her, he commands, his eyes cold and unbothered. She's just putting on an act to get me to see her. Your Majesty, Your Majesty. The calm of the study is shattered. Nanchu bursts past the guards, throwing herself onto the hard floor in a fit of hysterical tears. An attendant tries to drag her away, but she cries out that she serves the noble consort. The emperor looks down at the sobbing maid, pure annoyance flickering across his handsome face. But the words that leave Nanchu's lips freeze the entire room. The noble consort has taken her own life. The emperor's eyes snap wide open. The absolute shock breaks his cold facade in an instant, dropping his scroll. He rises from his throne in furious disbelief. How could she? How dare she? He demands, his grand robes sweeping the floor as he steps down toward the trembling maid. Did she say anything to me before she did it? Through her tears, Nanchu delivers Wan Hua Long's devastating final message. She tells the emperor that the consort didn't expect him to despise her so much. If your majesty wants me dead, I will fulfill your wish one last time. As the maid speaks, a lingering, ghostly vision of Wan Hua Long ascends in the cold night. Her final vow echoes through the palace halls, a curse that will transcend death itself. Even if I reincarnate as a wandering spirit, I will never forgive you for breaking your promise. 7 days have passed since the chilling death of the evil consort, but in the Zhao Empire, her name is still whispered in the dark. Inside a traveling carriage, 2 old servants huddle together, gossiping under the cover of night. Rumors are spreading that the wicked Wan consort died a horrible death, and they mutter that a woman with such evil intentions will surely turn into a vengeful ghost. One of the older women nervously shushes her companion. Don't speak nonsense, she warns, her eyes darting to the shadows. Wan consort's interment is nearby, and today is her first week's memorial. Speak softly. Don't attract wandering spirits. Stop the carriage. A slender hand pushes back the fabric, revealing a young woman shrouded in a heavy white hooded cloak. I want to get off, she demands quietly. The servant is bewildered. They are in the middle of nowhere, no village ahead, no inn behind. Where could she possibly go? But the cloaked woman simply steps down onto the dirt road, the wind catching her pristine white robes. A faint, almost chilling smile graces her lips beneath the hood. Today is the first week's memorial, she says softly. I should return to Wan consort's tomb. Panic erupts. Believing they've just picked up a ghost, the servants scream for help and flee into the night, leaving the mysterious young woman completely alone. Eerie paper money blowing in the wind. The imposing dark silhouette of Wan consort's tomb against the night sky. Unfazed, the cloaked figure walks toward the grand, lonely tomb. Paper money swirls through the cold air like snow. She pushes open the heavy doors to the memorial hall. White morning curtains billow wildly in the draft. In the center of the room, surrounded by an ocean of flowers and glowing incense, lies the extravagant coffin of the evil consort. The young woman approaches the casket. Slowly, she reaches up and pulls back her hood. Her face is breathtakingly young, fresh, and completely different, but her eyes hold a heavy, ancient sorrow. She looks down at the corpse. There, lying in imperial red silk adorned with peacock feathers, is her own dead body. The realization hits her. The voice in her head is undeniable. I, Wan Hua Long, am not dead. nor have I turned into a ghost. Against all odds, the heavens have given her a second chance. She was reborn. Her mind flashes back to how she awoke in this new vessel at the Zhao mansion in the countryside. An old doctor with a gray mustache sat beside her bed, taking her pulse while her new body lay frail and unconscious. The original owner of this body, a young lady of the Zhao house, had fallen into the water. As the doctor gravely informed the weeping maid, the girl had lost half her life and completely lost her will to live. He had told them to prepare for a funeral, completely unaware that the fierce, unbroken spirit of the evil consort was about to wake up in her place. Before her miraculous awakening in this new body, a tragic scene had played out in the rustic bedroom of the Zhao mansion. As the young lady lay dying, her loyal maid wept bitterly by her bedside. Through her tears, she painted the heartbreaking picture of her mistress's miserable life. Her mother had died early, her father remarried and neglected her, leaving her at the total mercy of a cruel household. "If you also pass away? What will I do?" the maid sobbed. But it was too late. The young lady's spirit, weary and broken, began to slip away. She finds herself floating in a dark, starry void, the realm between life and death. Confused, her spirit, clad in plain white robes, drifts through the endless night. "Hua Long," a voice echoes. She looks down, and her breath catches. A sweeping shot from the frail girl in white down to the magnificent, imposing figure of the evil consort in her sprawling red and gold imperial robes. Beneath her stands a woman of terrifying beauty and regal power. Even as a spirit, the evil consort radiates absolute authority. The young girl floats down, kneeling instinctively before this towering presence. The consort looks down at her and speaks her name. Wan Hua Long, daughter of censor Huo Qiuming. The consort already knows everything. She knows about the early death of the girl's biological mother, the father's neglect, and the ultimate truth, that the girl was murdered by her wicked stepmother. "What do you want from me?" the consort asks. Trembling, the young girl looks up at the majestic woman and whispers, "Who are you?" "I am the imperial consort of this dynasty, Wan Hua Long," she replies. The young girl is stunned. They share the same name, Hua Long, but their lives couldn't be more different. One is a bullied, discarded daughter, the other, the most feared woman in the empire. Yet a bitter shadow crosses the consort's face. "What of being a consort?" she murmurs, her majestic peacock robes swirling in the void. "Even in death, I couldn't escape that palace cage." The words trigger a flood of memories for the young Wan Hua Long. The illusion of her accident shatters. "Am I dead?" she gasps. The truth burns in her chest. She didn't just fall into the water. She was violently murdered by her stepmother's people. Fury and injustice war with her own helplessness. She is not resigned to this unfair death. She wants revenge. But she weeps, knowing she is too weak and useless to achieve it. In a final, desperate act of defiance, she grabs the rich silk of the consort's robes. "Consort, I'm weak and useless. I can't fight my stepmother," she cries out. "But you, in that deep palace with high status, must be able to do it." She looks up into the eyes of the evil consort and makes the ultimate sacrifice. "I beg you. I am willing to give you my life if you help me take revenge." The consort's eyes widen. A pact is offered. A new body for the betrayed consort and absolute vengeance for the murdered girl. Two souls named Hua Long, bound by betrayal, are about to become one unstoppable force. In the endless starry void, the great evil consort looks down at the frail weeping girl holding onto her robes. Her cold heart softens. She sees her own tragic reflection in the girl's suffering. "You were trapped in the mud and struggled until your death," the consort says gently, her voice echoing with ancient sorrow. "I deeply sympathize with you. All right, I will help you." The consort kneeling down, taking the young girl's hands in her own. The consort makes a vow that will shake the heavens and the earth. "If there's a chance to live again, I will definitely take revenge for you, and also for myself." Hearing this, the young girl's tears stop. A serene, beautiful smile spreads across her face as her spirit begins to dissolve into brilliant, glowing light. "You promise me," she whispers, fading away into the dark, leaving the consort's soul to take her place. We snap back to reality. Inside the freezing, flower-filled tomb, the reborn Hua Long now in the young girl's body looks down at her own extravagant corpse. She reaches out and gently takes the cold hand of her past self. "I promise, Hua Long," she whispers into the silent room. "We will definitely take revenge." Glowing blue floral jade bracelet being slipped off the corpse's wrist. Before she leaves her past life behind forever, She carefully slips a beautiful jade bracelet off the corpse's wrist. It's the only thing her mother left her in her previous life, a precious keepsake she refuses to leave in the dark. Suddenly, a cold voice cuts through the silence. "You bold thief! How dare you steal from the noble consort's tomb?" A deadly sharp blade is pressed directly against her throat. A tall man, dressed in dark assassin's clothes and wearing a menacing black and gold mask, has materialized out of the shadows. Hua Long's quickly shifting to her, subtly sliding the jade bracelet up her sleeve. Panic flashes in Hua Long's eyes. Has she been discovered already? Is she doomed? But she is the evil consort. She doesn't break easily. She quickly hides the bracelet up her sleeve and puts on a terrified, innocent act. "Sir, please show mercy," she begs, making her voice tremble. "I'm not a thief. Taking the jade bracelet from the consort was truly a last resort." The masked man isn't fooled for a second. He leans in close, his voice dripping with deadly amusement. "Oh, what last resort do you have for hiding a dagger?" Her eyes narrow. The act is over. The loud clang of metal striking metal. In a flash of white silk, Hua Long draws her own hidden blade, violently striking the assassin's knife away. As they cross blades, the moonlight catches the assassin's face. Hua Long gasps. Staring back at her are piercing, vivid green eyes. Green eyes? She realizes instantly. "You're a foreigner from Lu Hui." She goes on the offensive, slashing her dagger toward the masked intruder. The quiet memorial hall transforms into a deadly arena. "Who are you, really?" she demands, her fierce aura fully unleashed. "Why are you in Wan Consort's tomb?" But the evil consort's fierce spirit is trapped in a desperately weak body. Despite her bold attack, the mysterious assassin is incredibly fast and highly skilled. With a fluid, blindingly quick motion, he easily overpowers her. He twists her arm behind her back, pulling her tightly against his dark robes. The icy edge of his blade presses dangerously close to her neck once again. Even in the dim moonlight, the physical difference between them is striking. Her fragile white mourning robes swallowed up by his towering dark presence. "You thief," he mocks, his deep voice vibrating right by her ear. "You can barely protect yourself, yet you dare question others?" The assassin's green eyes glinting behind his mask as he looks down at her. Hua Long grits her teeth, her mind racing for a way out of his iron grip. But before either of them can make another move, a booming voice from outside the memorial hall shatters the silence of the night. A sudden, thunderous drumbeat. A eunuch's high, loud voice echoing from the courtyard. "The Emperor is arriving." "The Emperor is arriving?" The words hit Hua Long like a lightning bolt. Both the assassin and Hua Long freeze in shock. Behind his mask, the foreigner curses silently. This is bad. But for Hua Long, this isn't just bad, this is an absolute nightmare. Sweat breaks out on her pale face as pure panic sets in. Why is Huo Qiuming the man who betrayed her? The man who let her rot in the cold palace, visiting her tomb in the dead of night? If she is caught here, dressed in mourning clothes, robbing her own grave alongside a foreign assassin, she won't just die a second time, she'll be tortured. Hua Long's terrified, sweating face, trembling as she stares toward the closed doors, her second chance at life, her grand promise of revenge. Is it all about to end before it even begins, trapped right next to her own coffin? "Emperor?" The masked assassin reacts with lightning speed, grabbing Hua Long by the arm. He violently yanks her back into the shadows, pulling her behind the massive, billowing white mourning curtains, just as a figure appears in the doorway. He pins her against his chest, warning her with a harsh whisper. "Don't speak." The grand wooden doors of the memorial hall groan as Emperor Huo Qiuming steps inside. His imperial boots click against the cold stone floor. He looks somber, dressed in heavy, dark robes. He doesn't look like a man here to gloat. He looks like a man harboring a dark, heavy secret. Raising a hand to the eunuchs and guards lingering outside, he gives a cold command: "Close the doors and leave at once." Behind the curtain, the assassin's piercing green eyes widen in alarm. It's over. With the doors shut, the tomb is completely silent. The slightest movement or sound will give them away. Realizing they are backed into a corner, the assassin leans down to Hua Long's ear, whispering a desperate, rapid-fire deal. Close up on the assassin's masked face. Then Hua Long's wide, calculating eyes. "Young hero," he breathes. "Entering the consort's tomb without permission is a crime punishable by death. The same goes for you." He stares at her, making his final gamble. "My life is worthless, but if I can help you escape, would you spare me?" A sharp, sudden swoosh of fabric echoes loudly in the quiet room. Outside the curtain, the Emperor is standing right beside the lavish coffin. gazing down at the lifeless face of the evil consort. But at the sudden sound of rustling fabric, his head snaps toward the curtains. His eyes narrow, turning instantly cold and dangerous. "Who's in there?" he barks, his voice dripping with authority. "Get out here." Hua Long stepping out from the curtain and throwing herself prostrate onto the floor at the emperor's feet. There is no running now, knowing they are caught. Hua Long makes a split-second, incredibly dangerous decision. She steps out from the shadows alone, immediately throwing herself onto the freezing stone floor before the emperor. She buries her face against the ground, making her voice tremble perfectly to play the part of a terrified, lowly subject. "Your Majesty, please forgive me," she cries out. The emperor glares down at this strange, trembling girl dressed in plain white mourning clothes. "Who are you?" he demands, his eyes narrowing with suspicion. Keeping her face hidden so he cannot recognize the burning hatred in her eyes, Hua Long quickly spins her cover story. This humble woman, she lies smoothly, was once favored by Consort Wan. Right in front of her own coffin, looking at the man who drove her to her death, the evil consort begins her ultimate performance. Face pressed against the freezing stone, Hua Long plays the role of a terrified, loyal subject to perfection. "I only wish to offer incense to the consort. Please forgive me," she pleads. Her mind is calculating every angle. She knows Huo Qiuming better than anyone. He is a ruthless hypocrite who values his public reputation above all else. He would never execute a commoner just for mourning his beloved dead wife. The emperor, looking down at her, his expression cold and unreadable before giving a slight nod. Her gamble pays off. Believing she is just a harmless, grieving girl, the emperor's icy demeanor remains unbroken. "Go ahead and light the incense," he orders coldly. "Yes," she murmurs humbly, rising to her feet. Hua Long approaches the grand bronze incense burner. As she places the 3 sticks of incense into the ash, the fragrant smoke curls upward, drifting between her and the back of the emperor. He stands there, staring at her coffin, completely unaware of the monstrous irony. Stares at the back of the man who murdered her. Huo Qiuming, her mind screams, "Did you ever imagine? The consort you poisoned with your own hands has come back to life and is now standing right behind you?" The memories flash before her eyes in a torrent of pain and rage. 12 years of deep, unwavering affection. 12 years of bleeding for his throne. And how did he repay her? With poison. With a slow, agonizing death confined in the freezing walls of the cold palace. That heartless husband, the father who discarded me like an old shoe, all those who have wronged me. As she throws handfuls of white paper money into the air, letting them fall like snow over her own grave, she makes her ultimate silent vow. "I, Wan Hua Long, will never forgive any of them. Wait for me. After I've avenged this girl's family between you and me, Huo Qiuming, there will be no end until death." "Withdraw," the emperor commands without turning around, dismissing her like a speck of dust. Hua Long turns to leave, but she cannot resist twisting the knife. Pausing at the doorway, she adopts an innocent, mournful tone that drips with hidden sarcasm. "The consort once told me she loved the tranquil moonlight the most," she says softly. "So His Majesty came at night to bid farewell to the consort, right?" She delivers her final, cutting line, perfectly mocking his fake grief. Such deep affection, yet unseen and unpraised by the people, truly unfortunate. With that perfectly executed taunt, she slips out into the night, leaving the emperor alone with his sins. But she isn't the only one who noticed the weight of her words. High above in the shadows, the masked assassin from Lu Hui watches her small, white-robed figure walk away into the snowy courtyard. The assassin's glowing green eyes narrowing in deep curiosity and suspicion as he watches her from the rafters. He is stunned. He watched her entire performance. He saw the tears, the trembling. But as she walked out that door, he saw what the emperor missed. Why is there such a murderous look in her eyes, he wonders. The mysterious assassin realizes he hasn't just bumped into a grave robber, he just met the most dangerous woman in the Zhao Empire. Stepping out of the stifling memorial hall and into the freezing night, Hua Long descends the grand stone steps of the tomb. She doesn't look back. With every step she takes away from her own coffin, her past life fades further into the shadows. Looking up at the vast, open sky, she makes her peace with her new reality. The terrified, bullied girl who drowned in a pond is gone. The all-powerful evil consort who died in the cold palace is gone. She clasps her hands together in a silent prayer. Consort Wan is completely dead, she tells herself, cementing her vow. There is only Zhao Hua Long in this world from now on. But her moment of peace doesn't last a second. Before she can even take another breath, a black-gloved hand shoots out from the darkness, violently grabbing her by the jaw. Extreme close-up of the assassin's hand gripping Hua Long's face, her eyes wide with shock and fear, quickly panning up to the assassin's glaring green eyes. It's the masked foreigner. He didn't stay in the rafters, he silently tracked her out into the snow. That thief, he mutters, his grip like iron. He leans in, his eyes burning with intense suspicion after witnessing her chilling performance inside. Who are you, really? Did you truly know Consort Wan? Hua Long's heart hammers against her ribs. She is totally at his mercy. She quickly plays her only remaining card, the deal they struck behind the curtains. Whether my words are true or false, she pleads, her voice trembling slightly. Since I've helped you, I hope you'll keep your promise and spare my life. The assassin looks down at her. He doesn't care about her secrets anymore. He only cares about his prize. He releases her jaw but extends an expectant hand. Consort Wan's bracelet, he demands coldly. Hand it over. Hua Long's heart breaks. That jade bracelet is the only relic left from her mother in her past life. But she knows she cannot outfight a master assassin. Slowly, reluctantly, she reaches into her sleeve. Young hero, she says softly, offering the glowing, ethereal blue jade on her open palms. I didn't take this bracelet out of greed. He doesn't care about her sentiment. He snatches the precious jade from her hands, turning his back to her. You may leave, he dismisses her, admiring the glowing treasure. But Hua Long can't just let it go. Young hero, this bracelet is very important to me, she cries out, taking a step toward him. The assassin stops. He turns his head slightly, his tone dropping to a deadly, lethal whisper. Still not leaving? Then don't blame me for going back on my word. The threat is crystal clear. Hua Long grits her teeth. Losing the bracelet is agonizing, but losing her second chance at life is unacceptable. Fine, she thinks, suppressing her fury. The most important thing now is to stay alive. Putting on her best fake, grateful voice, she bows her head. Thank you, young hero, for sparing my life. See you again? She calls out, immediately turning and sprinting away into the dark, snowy night, as fast as her fragile new legs can carry her. The assassin stands completely still, watching the strange girl disappear into the blizzard. But he is no longer alone. From the darkness of the tomb's roof, another masked figure silently drops down behind him, kneeling in the snow. Baque, the new arrival, reports. The mystery of the foreign assassins is only just beginning to unfold. Back at the tomb, the mysterious assassin watches Hua Long's figure disappear into the blizzard. His subordinate, Baque, kneels silently in the snow behind him, awaiting his command. The assassin doesn't take his eyes off the path she took. Follow her, he orders, his voice smooth but dangerous. Find out everything about her. Meanwhile, completely unaware that she has a deadly shadow on her tail, Hua Long rushes through the dark, snowy woods. Suddenly, a panicked voice calls out through the trees. Miss! A young, tearful girl bursts from the underbrush, throwing herself toward Hua Long. It is Tao Hua, the original Zhao Hua Long's fiercely loyal maid. Miss, you finally returned, Tao Hua cries, gripping her mistress's hands. I've waited so long, afraid that if I waited in the wrong place, I wouldn't be able to find you. Hua Long looks at the shivering, devoted servant. Even with a heart turned to ice by betrayal, she feels a pang of gratitude. Dao Hua, you've done well, she praises her. She knows that without this maid's bravery, she wouldn't have been able to successfully fake her death and escape the prying eyes of her stepmother's spies back at the village. But Tao Hua is naive. Miss, let's hurry back to Jinling and report to the master. The maid urges indignantly. Those vile servants actually tried to drown you. Hua Long immediately shoots the idea down. Go back to her father? The man who let her be abused and tossed aside to a rural farm like garbage? If that father of mine had any conscience, how could he allow my stepmother to humiliate me? She replies coldly. Returning home right now, weak and powerless, wouldn't be justice. It would be a suicide mission before they can exact revenge. They need power. They need allies. Dao Hua is at a loss. Where can two helpless girls go in the dead of winter? But Hua Long is already searching through the original girl's memories, looking for a weapon to use, and then she finds one extreme close-up of Hua Long lifting a delicate, glowing jade pendant into the moonlight. I still remember, Hua Long murmurs, a plan forming in her mind. My mother arranged a marriage for me when I was young. She pulls out a beautiful, intricate jade engagement token. It points to one person, Chen Yi An, the young master of the powerful Chen family in Qingling. A dreamy, brightly lit flashback showing a handsome, gentle young man holding out his hand to a younger Xiao Hua Long. In the young girl's memory, this Chen Yi An was a gentle, elegant youth, as flawless as jade. Hua Long can't help but sigh at the irony. To suddenly wake up with a fiancé is a headache for the former evil consort. But, she realizes with a sly smirk, the Chen family is powerful. If this fiancé has any honor, he would certainly help a damsel in distress. Her eyes light up with sudden resolve. The path is clear. Dao Hua, let's go. Hua Long declares, her voice filled with newfound energy. Let's head to Qingling first and find this fiancé of mine and see if he can really help me or not.